God is speaking to you in this exact moment, not by coincidence, not by mistake, but with intention, clarity, and urgency, because there has been something heavy resting on your soul for far too long, and heaven cannot allow you to carry it into the miracle that's already forming in the unseen. There are chains you've mistaken for memories, scars you've mistaken for identity, and wounds you've tried to bury deep beneath your strength. But God sees what's still bleeding behind your closed-off smiles and your silent endurance. You have survived seasons that would have destroyed someone else, endured betrayal that shattered the trust you once offered freely, walked through fire while others watched from a distance. And yet you kept showing up. You kept going, but not without cost. And God is saying now, that cost is no longer yours to carry. The past has shaped you, yes, but it was never meant to define you. And though it taught you how to protect yourself, how to read the warning signs in people's behavior, how to guard your heart behind walls made of silence and overthinking, it also tried to convince you that love always ends in loss, that faith always ends in waiting, that hope is just a setup for disappointment. But I, your creator, have never spoken that over your life. Those were the echoes of fear, not the voice of truth. And I know it's hard to release what once felt safe, even when it was broken, because the past, even in its pain, became familiar. But you're not called to cling to what hurt you simply because it's what you know. You are being called into something greater, something that requires open hands, not clenched fists holding on to bitterness, resentment, shame, or regret. This is not about pretending the past never happened. It's about recognizing that it no longer has authority over your next chapter. You have cried over doors that I slammed shut to protect you. You have replayed conversations in your head that I have already erased in heaven's record of your life. You've held on to guilt for decisions you made out of survival, not rebellion. You've judged yourself by standards I never placed on you. And now I'm telling you, release it. Not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer serves the person I am shaping you into. There is a miracle hovering over your life, one that has been delayed, not denied, but it cannot descend until your hands are free. Free from what used to be, free from the need to explain your pain to people who were never meant to understand it. Free from mourning seasons that I already used to build the strength you now carry in silence. I saw you when you broke down after everyone else left. I heard your whispered prayers, the ones you didn't post about, the ones you made while curled into yourself at night, asking me if I still had a plan, if you were still chosen, if joy would ever feel natural again. And I say to you now, not only do I still have a plan, but it's better than the one you would have settled for if I hadn't intervened. That rejection you experienced, that loss, that ending, it wasn't punishment. It was redirection, a divine reroute meant to prepare you, not punish you. I had to break certain cycles in your life because you were starting to confuse comfort with calling. You thought peace would come from control, but real peace flows from surrender. So now I ask again, child of mine, will you let go? Will you stop trying to rewrite chapters one already closed? Will you trust that the same hands that carried you through the storm are now opening a new door, not one built on fear, but on fulfillment? Your miracle is not waiting for perfection. It is waiting for release. And even now, the angels are gathering around your name, preparing the path, shifting the atmosphere, breaking down walls in the unseen realm. But they cannot proceed until you choose to stop rehearsing your heartbreak like it's your identity. The promise I've placed over your life cannot bloom in soil soaked with yesterday's tears. But if you would dare to place the past into my hands, not with conditions, but with complete surrender, I will breathe into places you thought were dead. I will awaken the joy that grief tried to bury. I will bring clarity to every closed door, and you'll begin to see why it had to happen the way it did. But it begins with trust. It begins with you choosing this very moment to believe that the God who created galaxies is also fully capable of healing your heart. And if you will let go, if you will release the anger, the longing, the what ifs, the could have beens, then nothing will be able to stop the miracle that is about to find you. Nothing. Because I am not finished with you. I'm just getting started. And this surrender is the beginning of your freedom. There is a sound in the spirit that surrounds your name right now, a divine vibration that shakes the heavens every time you even whisper, every time your chest tightens from trying to be strong when no one notices the weight you're carrying, every time you choose to believe, just one more time, that God is still writing your story even when the ink seems to have run dry. And in that moment, when you feel like your heart is too tired to hold on, that is when heaven leans in closest. You see, the angels have not forgotten you. The promise didn't dissolve just because your circumstances haven't changed yet. God has not overlooked your tears, your patience, your late-night prayers filled with trembling hands and half-broken faith. You've been showing up in places that try to convince you you're not worthy of more, giving grace to people who never knew how to handle your light, adjusting yourself to fit in spaces you were meant to outgrow. And now, God says enough. No more shrinking to keep peace with the past. No more dimming your power to comfort those who chose not to rise with you. No more trying to resurrect what I already let die. You have carried burdens that were never yours to carry, protected people who secretly prayed for your failure, and waited for closure from mouths that were never meant to speak truth into your soul. And yet, with all that pain, you still chose to love. You still gave. You still hoped. That's why your breakthrough is coming, because the pain didn't harden you, it refined you. And even now, my child, I'm stretching your heart not to break it, but to make more room for what I'm about to pour in. You were not forgotten when you were left behind. You were not invisible when they passed over you. I saw every silent scream you buried beneath your calm exterior. I heard every time you said, "I'm okay," when your spirit was quietly begging for a rescue. I saw how you smiled at others even when your own heart was crumbling. I watched you choose forgiveness when revenge was justified, choose compassion when abandonment could have turned you bitter. And for every hidden sacrifice, for every unnoticed act of love, for every moment you resisted the urge to become cold, heaven wrote it down. I wrote it down. And what I am about to release in your life will not be a random blessing. It will be a divine response. A response to your perseverance. A response to your integrity. A response to your refusal to let your past define the temperature of your future. But before I can release the miracle I've prepared, I must first invite you into the holy process of letting go. Not just in words, not just in prayer, but in action. Because I know there's a version of you that still reaches back, still wonders if they'll return, still plays scenes in your mind of what could have been if they had just chosen differently. And I understand that ache. I truly do. But I did not design your destiny to revolve around people who walked away from you without understanding your worth. I have someone greater. I have joy deeper. I have a season prepared for you that will taste like redemption and restoration all at once. But it cannot be poured into hands still gripping what no longer fits. I'm calling you to stretch now, to surrender the familiar pain for unfamiliar joy, to trust that even though the past was loud, the future I have prepared is louder. You don't need to beg for what's already yours. You don't need to force open doors that I have closed to protect you from delay, detour, or destruction. I closed them because I knew that if you stayed in that place, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you would start to forget who you were becoming. But look at you now, more discerning, more humble, more rooted. You don't even realize how much you've grown. And now, heaven is ready to reward what only I could see. The growth in silence, the worship through pain, the hope that kept flickering even when the wind of heartbreak tried to blow it out. I have always been with you, even in the nights when you thought I was silent. My silence was never absence. it was strategy. I was working behind the veil, removing counterfeit connections, making space for supernatural alignment. And now I'm asking you, can you trust me with the next part? Can you trust that what's ahead is better than what's behind? Can you believe, even now, that you are on the edge of something so sacred, so transforming, so divinely timed, that the weight you've carried will feel like nothing in comparison to the glory that's about to fall on your life? This is not the end. This is the permission to begin again. And the miracle is already on its way. The moment you let go, the heavens will begin to move in ways you couldn't predict even if I told you. So let go, not with fear, but with faith. Because what I have coming for you is going to make you understand why everything had to happen exactly the way it did. There's a sacred shift happening in the atmosphere around you right now. A divine realignment so precise and so intentional that even your delays are being rewritten into deliverance. Even your disappointments are being repurposed as doorways, and heaven is standing at attention, watching how your soul has survived what others thought would destroy you. You have no idea the magnitude of the battles you've already won in the spirit. Some are so fierce, so targeted, so heavy that angels had to be dispatched just to keep you breathing through the midnight hour. There were moments you didn't even know why you were crying, why your chest felt so hollow, why the world felt muted, but heaven knew. Heaven saw how your name was being spoken in runes of spiritual warfare, how demons tried to disguise your grief as failure, how shame tried to build a home in your heart. But even in those silent storms, you kept moving. You kept showing up. You held the door open for others while secretly wondering if one would ever open for you. You prayed for the healing of people who wounded you. You loved without guarantees, forgave without apologies, and believed in a future even when the past was still bleeding. And now, God says, the time has come for reversal, for restoration, for recognition from heaven itself. I have seen your loyalty, not to people, not to platforms, not even to outcomes, but to me. When everything felt unstable, when all you had was hope stitched together with fragile threads of faith, you chose to believe I was still working. That is the faith I bless. That is the heart I crown with miracles. But before the blessing falls, I must take you through the refining fire, not to punish you, but to purify the soil of your spirit so that when the blessing arrives, it doesn't break you, it builds you. I am preparing your character to carry the weight of the glory that's coming. You have asked me to open doors, but what I am preparing for you is not just a door, it is a floodgate. A release of favor that requires space, maturity, clarity, and surrender. But how can I place something new into a hand that is still locked around what hurt you? I know it's hard to loosen your grip on what once felt like your only source of hope. I know it's terrifying to walk forward without the people who once felt like home. But they were a season, not your sentence. They were a chapter, not your calling. What I have for you is not behind you, it is ahead, unfolding in divine timing. And I know you've heard this before, and I know your heart says, but I've waited for so long, and I hear you, my beloved. I hear the ache in your patience. I hear the quiet fear that maybe this is all there is. But that fear is a lie from the pit of hell, and I am uprooting it from the soil of your spirit this very moment. Because you were not created to almost receive, to almost be loved, to almost be chosen. You were created to walk in full favor, full joy, full divine alignment. And what you thought was denial was really my protection. What you thought was delay was really me reordering the pieces so that nothing can collapse under the weight of your answered prayer. I was stretching your capacity, increasing your discernment, sharpening your spiritual eyes to see beyond appearances. Because this next miracle is not coming wrapped in the familiar. It will not look like what you lost. It will not feel like what you're used to. It will be better, bolder, brighter, because it is heaven sent. But to receive it, You must unclench your hands from the memories you're still trying to resurrect. I'm not calling you to erase the past, but to release its authority over your future. Those who left, those who misunderstood you, those who abandoned you in your hour of need, they were not your foundation. I am your foundation, and I have already chosen someone better for you. I have already written the next chapter in light, not in sorrow. But it cannot unfold until you stop rereading the one that broke you. It's time to bury the version of you that needed validation to feel valuable. It's time to bury the expectations that were never rooted in my will. The next season requires your whole heart, not half of it still echoing with old conversations. I know it's scary to let go of something when you haven't seen the new thing yet, but that's where faith becomes your bridge. And as you step, the path will appear. As you release, the miracle will descend. As you trust me more than your memory, you will see how I was always guiding, always holding, always waiting for you to surrender. Not because I needed your obedience, but because I longed to bless you fully. This is the hour of unlocking, but the key is release. Let the past fall from your hands like dust, and watch how I turn ashes into beauty, mourning into dancing, grief into glorious beginning. It is coming, more real, more holy, more beautiful than anything you've imagined. You're not losing. You're making room. And now, my beloved, now that the veil has lifted and your spirit is open, I speak to you not as a distant God, but as the one who never left your side, even when the world collapsed around you and your heart shattered into prayers you couldn't find the strength to speak. I have been with you in every quiet breakdown, in every room where you had to smile while dying inside, in every night where you reached for comfort and found only silence. I was there, not watching from afar, but cradling your soul in invisible arms, speaking strength into your bones even when you couldn't feel me. And now, the time has come, not just to receive, but to truly live again, fully, freely, without the shadows of regret chasing your peace or the voices of the past whispering lies to your heart. I am declaring over you today that the cycle is broken, the curse is reversed, and the heaviness that once smothered your light is dissolving in my presence. You are not behind. You're not disqualified. You are not too late. Everything you lost, every missed moment, every betrayal, every door that slammed in your face, none of it was final, because I am the God of the restart, the rebirth, the redirection. And now I am reaching down with both hands into your timeline and writing a new narrative, not one based on your fears, but on your faith. You will not repeat what hurt you. You will not carry generational patterns that were never yours to hold. You're not bound to replay what broke your parents, your bloodline, or your younger self. Because I'm doing a new thing in you. And yes, it requires letting go of comfort disguised as captivity. But what I am placing in your spirit is freedom so pure, so weightless, that you'll wonder how you ever survive carrying burdens I never asked you to hold. That guilt you've been dragging behind you like chains? I'm cutting it off now. That sense of unworthiness that made you believe miracles were for others, but not for you? I am burning it in my holy fire, because your miracle has already been set in motion. It's not waiting on me. It's waiting on your surrender. And I know surrender feels like loss, but in my kingdom, surrender is the soil of resurrection. I cannot resurrect what you're still clinging to in fear. But the moment you release it to me, fully, honestly, even if it's messy and tear-soaked, I will breathe life into what looks dead. I will cause the things you thought were over to bloom again. Not the old version, but a heaven-upgraded, spirit-filled version you couldn't have imagined in your wildest prayers. And yes, it will cost you something. It will cost you your comfort zone. It will cost you the identity you built around pain. It will cost you the story you keep telling yourself about why you're not ready, not strong, not good enough. I want that story gone. I want you to see yourself the way I see you, anointed chosen, covered, equipped, and rising. Do you not know that angels are still amazed at how you survived? Do you not know that demons tremble every time you wake up and still choose to trust me? Your obedience has shaken realms you can't even see. Your yes in the dark has birthed light in places others never thought could shine. And now it's time. It's time for your resurrection. It's time for the miracle to come through, not as a reward, but as a revelation of what was always meant for you. The relationships that feel heaven sent. The purpose that finally makes your soul feel at home. The provision that comes without sorrow. I'm not just fixing your life. I'm transforming it. You won't have to force what flows from me. You won't have to beg for what I've already ordained. You won't have to fear what's ahead because I go before you. The miracle isn't coming in chaos. It's coming in clarity. It's not coming to confuse you. It's coming to complete you. And no, it won't look like the past. It won't taste like the trauma you survived. It will feel like peace so deep you'll wonder why you ever tolerated turbulence. It will feel like alignment so divine, every wrong turn will make sense in hindsight. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. And this is not the end of your story. This is the turning point. This is the divine acceleration. This is the moment where everything begins to make sense, where every delay reveals its purpose, where every detour becomes a testimony. The miracle is closer than you think. But first, release your grip on the pain and trust that what's coming is so much greater. Let the past rest. Let the ashes fall. Let me make beauty out of it all. Because I'm not just sending a blessing. I'm sending a breakthrough so holy, it will heal the very timeline of your life. And when it comes, you will not have to question it. You'll know. You'll feel me in it. Because I was always writing this moment for you. The miracle was never far. It was just waiting on your release.